The following is a Fourth Hand production.
Hey everybody, welcome in to Sad Times this week. It's going to be a little bit different. There is no guest. I am here with my producer Brent, who has been a guest. Say hi, Brent.
Hello, Mr. Kevin.
How's it going, man?
No, I'm living.
Don't worry, you don't have to be sad.
We're not gonna dig up anything of my past.
No, we already did that. Episode 11, was it?
I have all these tissues. I don't know.
Oh, you know what you should do with those? What I do in therapy.
Turn
I
those
just
sad
wipe my
tissues
mouth
into
all the
happy
time.
tissues. Oh, different. I'm sorry.
I just wipe my mouth with tissues in therapy all the time.
While maintaining eye contact at all times.
Oh, all times. Usually I've had a naked juice. For those of you who don't know, unfortunately, one time when I was with Brent and John, the co-host of Hysteria 51, going to record in their house, I drank a naked juice, an orange one, and I got sick all over Brent's truck, and I apologized between heaves, and it was terrible.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Oh, it was bad
wonderful.
news. Anyway, Brent, good to have you on.
Yeah.
Wanted to make a little announcement type of thing here. You know, Sad Times is still running strong. I've been traveling a lot for work.
Kevin's got a new job. He's been in New York City. I hear that's where they make all the good salsa. Remember that commercial?
Oh, that's an old joke there, buddy.
New York City? Sorry.
Pace Piccati sauce?
Yeah,
Is that what that?
Yeah.
Wow. See what advertising's doing to us?
Yeah. That joke's brought to you by No,
stop it. So yeah, just to kind of give you guys a refresher, if you're new to the show, Sad Times is a show that I created, in which basically every week we have a guest on. With that guest, I talk about times when they were sad, upset, frustrated, anxious, things of that nature. And we kind of go through that because we're trying to get to it where we as humans all go through this stuff to varying degrees. And I feel like we can all speak more about it just in our regular lives. But I might as well start with a podcast. And so I have a guest on. We have those discussions. There are 13 episodes, obviously, before this one. You can check out just to see what it's like. But that's kind of what we're doing with the show. It's to make people, or the goal is to make people feel less alone. I know that I've struggled a lot with anxiety in my life, somewhat with depression. And one of the things that really helps me is when I realize that I'm not alone in whatever it is that I'm struggling with. And so that's the goal.
I'm glad you just said that because I know that we've gotten emails and we've gotten a lot of comments on Facebook asking about, what made you do this and why you do that. And that's a really good way to say it, is how you pitched it to me too when we were talking about it when I was going to come on board was, I'm just trying to make people not feel alone. And the thing that you always said that always resounded to me was, you're like, I'm not an expert. I'm just going through it too. And I think it helps to talk about it. And that's how you sold me on being a guest, is coming on and talking about the things. And it's not always the easiest thing in the world, but it sure does help. It makes you feel good. And it also, I think, if I don't mind me saying, it also helps to hear other people that you can say, they're going through what I've gone through too, or I've dealt with that. I'm not alone. And I think that's important.
Yeah, and one of our former guests was on, and he spoke about drug addiction problems. And my sister, who's also a former guest, is a nurse practitioner. And she said after the show, every medical professional should hear that story.
Wow.
Because that person was brave enough and honest enough to tell his story. It was something that she, having worked in the medical field for over 13 years now, felt that it was so universal and such a good way to understand the trials and tribulations of addiction and things like that. So hearing things like that from people, it really drives home what we're trying to do. And I love hearing that. So, and Brent, when you came on, obviously when we started recording, I didn't just start asking you questions and just start poking at you. We talked beforehand, right?
Yeah, it's not, you're not going to be able to, you and I have the fortunate enough, we've known each other for a long time, but that's not always how it's going to be. But even if we didn't, you sat down and you said, let's talk. I think it's almost like a questionnaire. I think you sent me and you said, tell me some things. Tell me what you wanted to talk about. Are there anything that's taboo? We want to make sure it's a safe space. So we wanted to talk about, what you want to talk about. And I sent you that. And then you sent back, can I talk about this? Can I talk about that? And I was pretty open. I don't think I gave you any that's off limit, but that's totally understandable if people do that. And that's the nature of life and the beast and dealing with things like this. And it makes it so that you can, even if it's someone that you don't know, you're going into it, you got a through line. You know the stepping stones and where you can go down that path of talking.
Exactly. And just to reiterate, it's all about what the guest is comfortable talking about. If it's something that does not want to be talked about, it will not be talked about. That's extremely important to me in people who are brave, honest, kind enough to come on and share their stories. So that's kind of how we do it. And then I generate kind of, we have barriers on what we are and are not going to talk about, and we stick within that. And obviously, this started out as a streaming show with my friends Brock and Dan, and we've kind of moved into the podcast space. And so, generally, if we're doing a podcast, if something comes out and you're like, you know what, I don't want that out there, we edit that out.
Yeah, and if you guys, here's an important thing I would say too is we have done the some people don't want to be on camera, and we've done some things that way. We've been, we've taken the ones that we've done live and let them be, come out as a podcast. But if you guys would like to see more live shows or you prefer one or the other, let us know. I think that's an important feedback that we could get, and let us know how you're feeling and which you prefer. I think would be a good way to put it. Yeah,
exactly. And, if you're interested in being on the show or talking to us more about it, we've got an email address. You can email us at sadtimeskc@gmail.com. That's sad times, K as in king, C as in cat, @gmail.com.
I would have said sad times, K as in Kevin, C as in Crispin, but you do your own thing there.
Well, listen, you're a narcissist. For other people, apparently.
I'm a Crispinicist.
There you go. But yeah, please reach out to us there. Also, we're on Facebook. Do you want to give them that? It's facebook.com/sadtimeskc.
Yeah, if you just go to Facebook and you search Sad Times, you will find our group and our regular page. Now, they're very similar. The group is where you can have some better. I say better. When you post to the group, it goes to the main page. When you're on a page for a show, it kind of just goes into the visitor posts. So if you want to have some discussions and stuff, the group's probably the best way to do that. And if you have questions, if you want to reach out, and if you got a question for one of our past guests too, we're happy to move that along and try to see if they can answer it for you. Anything like that. If you have questions for Kevin, especially if you want to be a guest, you can reach us there outside of sadtimeskc@gmail.com. That would work also. And just give us suggestions, give us ideas. We'd love to hear, hey, this resounded with me, or this made me feel great. Kevin, you started to talk a little bit about how you've gotten some feedback, and so have I, about my episode on there. And it's been really positive. And I think it's great that people go, that resonated. I saw myself in that, or it helped me in one way or another. Because I think that's an important thing to get through. I was talking with someone recently, and we were talking about like, well, how do you know what works? People go to therapists, people go to a doctor, and they get put on, medication and all this stuff. You never know. And it's important to hear, I think, all the people that come on here, and these are the way they've coped with whatever they're going through, because what works for one person doesn't always work for the next.
That's exactly right. And
yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Brent. Sorry.
I was just going to say, and what works for you now might not work for you in a year from now or 5 years from now, and that's things to keep in, and keep in mind.
Yeah, and I could just spend so long talking about all of the medications I've been on that were not helpful, and it was very dispiriting. And having to go through that, things, I was on Zoloft, and it just made me feel like I was a robot and all that stuff. And now I feel like myself again on the medication I'm on now. So, it's stuff I think that more often than not people have to go through when they're trying to address their mental health issues and when they're trying to, live a more fulfilling life. So you are not alone if you are going through that. I again.
Listen, and also the thing to keep in mind too that I think is like a taboo that people don't like is if you were born and you had type 1 diabetes, or you had a liver issue, or I don't know, you have glaucoma, you take your medicine for it and no one blinks an eye. But some people that suffer from depression think there's going to be a stigma, or they don't want to get medicine because it sounds like they're defeated or something like that. No, it's an ailment just like anything else, and I believe it should be looked at that way, period. And that's an important thing that I think some people forget is you wouldn't not take your meds if it was for something else. Well, this is the exact same boat. Always remember that. Whatever those meds might be, whatever those meds, they might not be actual medicine. It might be talking or doing whatever.
Well said, man. So yeah, everybody, we've got some other people lined up, and we'll be coming with more episodes. We're trying to keep them weekly. It's getting tougher with my current schedule, but we're keeping on it as best as we can. And again, if you have interest, you have questions, you want to be on the show, you want to ask me or anybody else questions, shoot us an email at sadtimeskc@gmail.com or find us on Facebook.
Right, and you don't, again, keep in mind, we're in Chicagoland. You don't have to be in Chicagoland. If you are and you want to come on, we can absolutely do it in person. But all you need is a computer with a microphone, and we can talk to you. We use Skype for that. We're showing you how it works right now because Kevin is off away in his new job land, and I am here in Chicagoland, so he's on Skype. We're doing it over Skype. So it's very simple, very easy, and we're happy to have you on. Just let us know.
Awesome. Yeah. So thanks everybody for listening. More new episodes soon, and reach out if you have any questions, and look forward to hearing from you.
That's right. Well, all right. We'll see you next time.
All right. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to a Fourth Hand Joint.